Hello again and welcome to another Haunted Histories. The story here originates in the reign of Edward the Longshanks, of course Edward I from 1272 to 1307, and it takes place here at Blanchland Abbey. The village of Blanchland is situated right on the southern border of Northumberland and Durham, and it lies in the Derwent Valley and surrounded by very high moorlands. This period in medieval England is most remembered for the wars with Scotland, and a very violent and bloody time. The abbey during Edward's reign was a very wealthy monastery, and so it was a prime target for the marauding Scots. On this particular occasion, the Scots had come across the border and was crossing the moorland with the sole intent of sacking the monastery and stealing its wealth. The monks were warned of the intended attack and went into hiding using the passageways and connecting tunnels that connected it to the Lord Crewe Arms, and prayed for protection. As the Scots crossed over the moorland, they descended into the Derwent Valley into a thick fog. Not being able to find the monastery, they passed by it to the west and completely missed it. Realising they'd gone too far, they turned back and just decided to head for home. The monks, meanwhile, thinking that their prayers had been answered, came out and started ringing the monastery bell in celebration. Of course, the Scots heard the bell and were able to navigate their way through the fog to the monastery. Coming across it, they slaughtered everybody in it, took everything inside, and even herded the monastery cattle ahead of them on their way back to Scotland. It's said on dark winter's nights that the monastery bell can be heard in the distance, and the sound of monks chanting can be heard on the wind. And some people have seen cloaked figures wandering the grounds where the monastery once stood. We now jump forward 400 years to 1715, and that was, of course, the year of the Jacobite Rebellion. This was the attempt by James Stuart of Scotland, sometimes referred to as the Old Pretender, to regain the throne of England. The Lord Crewe Arms here, and I'm actually at the back of the Lord Crewe Arms here in Blanchland, is the setting for this story. It is built on the site where the abbot lived from the monastery next door, and secret tunnels and passages connected it to the monastery. The pub here gets its name from Lord Nathaniel Crewe, the Bishop of Durham from 1674 to 1721. Nathaniel was madly in love with Dorothy Forster, daughter of Sir William Forster, the then owner of Bamborough Castle, known to all as Pretty Dolly Forster. Sir William refused him as he was 57 and she was only 17. Having been refused, Nathaniel married Penelope Froud instead, but when she died in 1699, Nathaniel made a second bid for Dorothy, who was now 27. And this time the marriage was approved. When Sir William died the following year, the Bamborough estate, including Blanchland, passed to Dorothy and her nephew Thomas Forster. Thomas was the son of Frances, Dorothy's older sister, Francis had 6 children and Thomas was the oldest. But it is his younger sister, also called Dorothy, that this story is about. The Forsters were distantly related to James Stewart, and so it wasn't surprising that Thomas became a general for the Jacobite army and actually led the attack on southern England. He was defeated at the Battle of Preston in 1715, vastly outnumbered by royalist troops. He was captured and taken to Newgate Prison, which is today the Old Bailey in London, and awaited trial for treason. Young Dorothy, on hearing of her brother's imprisonment, hatched a plan with the local blacksmith from Bamborough. Dorothy rode on horseback to London through a blizzard with the help of the blacksmith, and she managed to spring her brother from prison and smuggled him back here to the Lord Crewe Arms. She then successfully helped Thomas to get out of the country and across to France. She outwitted the authorities by staging a fake funeral at Bamborough, filling the coffin with sawdust and stones, claiming that her brother had died abroad. Thomas never did return and died in exile in Boulogne in 1738. Dorothy died broken-hearted, never seeing her beloved brother again, and her ghost is occasionally seen in the part known as Dorothy's Tower. She always appears looking out to the east, as if looking for signs of her brother's return. A true story of heroism from another Bamborough girl alongside that of Grace Darling.